on this trip traveling from Chicago with the ultimate aim to visit once again Washington plus Mount Vernon and Alexandria. So we traveled from Washington via Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, reaching Washington, stuck behind many trucks in Ohio and especially Pennsylvania. It was a nightmare purely because the way they seemed to be driving in parallel, stagnating the driving. The scenery is simply amazing. If you like mountains, as you'll see in Ohio towards Pennsylvania and close to Washington, a massive tunnel you see here we had to cross, and lots of works being done nearby. Then reaching Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Center in Washington. This is a simply amazing museum if you are into aviation and space, and you might have seen a different video where I showed so many planes at the Aviation Museum in Virginia. This Udvar-Hazy Center has lots of planes donated due to his contribution to aviation, and lots of planes to be reconditioned. There are stealth planes, there is Enola Gay, there is a Concorde, there is Discovery Space Shuttle, and military planes, World War I and World War II planes, space rockets, Boeing helicopters, and there is a James S. McDonnell Space Hangar and Restoration Hangar. There is lots of info on the early days of aviation, if you like that, in United States. And there is an observation point from where you can see on a good day the Dallas airport in the distance. This is simply amazing, and I urge you to visit at least once in your lifetime. The downside is we were there when there were lots of children around, and I remember this little girl, 4 or 5 years old, passing near me and pulling my hair, then running towards her parents. I have never experienced anything like that before, so it was simply crazy. There you have it, when you have lots of children around. We decided to book a hotel outside Washington. Why? Because in the past we stayed in Pentagon City or near the Pentagon, that part which is near the Potomac River. And on this occasion we decided to stay outside and travel downtown by metro or underground. So, in the past we visit just about everything there is to visit in Washington, or Smithsonian's and anything else, even a spy museum. And on this occasion we decided to return to the National Gallery of Art, which I simply love. Not only is it a gorgeous building, but they have got some unique paintings you don't see in other parts of the world. This is an excellent museum, just like many museums you find in New York or in London, Paris, and in the Italian cities. And they have got lots of paintings by Tizian, Van Gogh, Da Vinci, you name it, everything is here. Plus, they have got very unique busts I haven't seen before about Da Vinci family. So very, very interesting. I highly recommend you to see this museum, and take maybe 3-4 hours. Is simply great. Next, back onto the Pennsylvania Avenue, the road which leads the Capitol, passing near this museum and all the way to the White House. No wonder, if you remember, there was a movie made about this and entitled Pennsylvania Avenue. I think it was 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So this is a very well organized area, and there are some great restaurants. We ate at Fogo de Chao. You find it in the United States in many major cities. And afterwards we saw once again the National Portrait Gallery, where of course there are lots of portraits by American artists, and you find a very unique section. It was there at that moment in time we visited this museum dedicated to the US former presidents. Simply gorgeous. I like this kind of stuff. From here, of course, we had to visit the National Portrait Gallery. The National Portrait Gallery is again another gorgeous building. However, it is a bit disorganized. Why? Because, for example, following COVID, they tell you that you have to keep the distance from other people, 2 meters, and you have to take the precautions with masks and so on. Yet the staff pushes you stuck near each other like you are in a queue in one of the countries in the world. So you are stuck near another person and they ask you, come on, move. Then there are lots of security points, and even so, with all security points, they still don't allow you to get in with a crossover, for example. And then, to add insult to injury, the staff being so aggressive towards you, they also check your crossover as you leave the building. Now thinking, what is the point? I was not allowed in the library with my crossover. Why now check my crossover? So clearly I wasn't in that area. In that area where the manuscripts are, lots of books and so on. There are probably hundreds of thousands. They pride themselves on having this massive selection. And you also have the Gutenberg Bible. So one of the Bibles, because clearly there were more made. And as you can see it, this architecture is simply beautiful. What a pity the staff, some of the staff is so aggressive and arrogant. Probably they're tired of the tourists, and maybe they should appreciate more the tourists who actually make them have a living by giving the jobs they are having. Have never seen before was United States Botanic Gardens, which is probably 5 minutes walk from the Library of Congress going towards the Capitol. Is at the intersection of 2 major roads, and you can easily miss this sign. However, the entrance is on the other side of the building, so not towards the intersection. It's a simply gorgeous building, and I highly recommend for you to visit if you are into nature and exotic plants. And we really enjoyed our visit here. After the US Botanic Gardens, we went to the Washington Monument. Why? Because this is just a beautiful area. Not only is massive, and on a good day you can walk if you want from, say, the Capitol all the way to the Lincoln Memorial, but from the Washington Monument you have got great views not only towards the White House and the Capitol, but also Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial. And the area where Jefferson Memorial is, again, is another beautiful part of Washington. I highly recommend for you to visit. You might want to take a hop on, hop off. I remember last time we were there, although it was March, I think. It was rather cold and we were freezing in this hop on, hop off, and we stopped near the Jefferson Memorial, so I highly recommend for you to go there. Next, we wanted to visit Mount Vernon. Why? Because this is a place where Washington himself lived, and you have access to the house and to all nearby buildings, and this is also the place where Lafayette stayed when he visited Washington. And great views over the Potomac. George Washington was overlooking his assets from the top of the hill, and you have got a great museum there with lots of information. The house itself, you'll not believe it, is not brick. Washington being of British ancestry, you'd think just like all Europeans or Middle Eastern people making his house of brick. No, it was not made of brick, just the way most of the US and Canadian houses are being built, so not made of brick, which is very interesting. Here are the great views over the Potomac, and after this we decided to also have a quick peek at Alexandria, where we had a great view in this small town. Is very, very beautiful right near the water, and on a good day you can also take a ferry, I'm not sure how it's called, a boat, and visit a touristic boat and go up and down the river. So this is a great area. I highly recommend you to visit. Also, Washington and his wife are buried there if you want to pay your respect. So if you want to visit Mount Vernon, this is Alexandria, as you can see. It reminds you of a high street in London or any other UK city. It doesn't have to be big or small. It reminds you so much of UK cities. And this is a restaurant we ate at the warehouse, and then having a very nice cream and walking down the road. As ever, I hope all this information was of help. Thank you for watching. I hope it inspired you to visit these amazing locations.